Going to make a chicken salsa recipe. It is one of my favorites because it's easy. And if you're doing Weight Watchers or not doing Weight Watchers, it's pretty much a 0 points for the chicken itself. There might be just 1 point. I'm going to use a corn tortilla today, which is 1 point. So with that, I'm going to get started only because we want to keep in time, and then we can talk about the utensils that I'm using. So I'm going to start. I've pre-washed my chicken.
So Liz, before you start, can you tell us all the ingredients that go?
I'm going to walk you through it.
Okay, perfect.
Because it's one of my favorites, and you'll see why, because it's really a 2-ingredient recipe.
Okay, and everyone is stuck at home, and we're kind of probably tired of eating the same thing, and so this is going to be real helpful, Liz. Thank you.
All right, so what I'm going to take is my favorite taco seasoning. You can put your Chipotle or a Southwestern, but I'm just going to do just my favorite, which is this brand, and it's just a taco seasoning. I'm going to just sprinkle over the top, and I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to just add a little bit more. Just, if you can you all see?
Yes.
All right, and then we're going to take our chicken, and we're just going to put it in our Instant Pot. Now, this recipe can be made either Instant Pot, crock pot, or on stovetop. The only thing that you're going to do is you're going to increase the amount of liquid. So you're going to just take your favorite salsa, and you're going to dump it in here.
So Liz, are you dumping the entire jar?
I am, just because I like it to be saucy.
Okay, and what size? Is that like a quart?
It's a 16-ounce.
Okay, thank you.
The thing with an Instant Pot is it has to have minimum a half a cup. But
okay.
I tried earlier with half a cup, and it kind of burnt on the side, so I added a little bit more. So Liz, just try to do 3/4 of a cup. And then I'm going to turn the Instant Pot, and I'm going to show you. I'm just going to take it, and I'm going to put it on chicken.
Liz,
yes.
We don't have an Instant Pot. What can we use?
You can use a crock pot, and obviously you'll add a bit more liquid. Let's get this started, and we can, because this will take a little bit of time, and then I'll answer your questions. So it's set for 15 minutes, but it needs to heat up. So here we go. So you can use a crock pot if you want it on high, 3 to 4 hours. If you want it on low, you'll set it for 6 hours. But obviously, you'll have to add a little bit more of the salsa to make sure it covers the chicken. Okay. If you wanted to do it on stovetop or in the oven, you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to cook it. You're going to put it in the oven with the salsa on it, enough salsa to cover it. I usually bake my chicken at 350. 45 minutes should do the trick. Stovetop, it's going to be simmering, but you'll need a bit more liquid.
Okay.
So now this is going to pressure up, and we will be able to start with our chicken in about, I timed it, it's about 20 minutes. So now, when we're making a chicken salsa, what's a chicken salsa without some yummy guacamole? So we're going to do a demo for guacamole here, which is my favorite. We're going to take an avocado. We're just going to peel it. I'm not quite a chef yet, but mostly they can dig the knife in and pull it out, but I'm not that talented yet. So you're going to half it. You're going to just scoop it all out.
Okay, so we're going to use the whole avocado, okay?
Yes, you just scoop it all out, so nothing left in there.
Nothing left, okay, the more the better.
We're just going to take a fork and just mash it, kind of roughly mash it, not that it's like a puree, just enough to mash it up. And then we have some, if you'll see on my cutting board, I have cut up some tomatoes and some onions. If you like jalapeno, I like jalapeno, but it gives me heartburn. Or some cilantro, that's a preference that you can add in there. I just like to do a little tomato. My husband doesn't like cilantro, and he doesn't really know that there's onions in there, or else
He just knows that it tastes good.
yes, but the cilantro, he will be on me for that. Angelica, I'm sure you have a better recipe for the grill,
No,
but
no,
this is just a simple what my household likes, and so
Well, Liz,
yeah,
that's what we want, quick and easy and healthy.
Correct.
So there you
well,
go.
no, but I'm saying is a jalapeno will actually make it very tasty,
Okay.
a bit spicy, like fire spicy, which is a good kick. And then the cilantro adds really it's really a Mexican guacamole, and cilantro is really a common ingredient found. And also I'm Lebanese, and cilantro is a common ingredient found in our food as well. And it gives it a nice little flavor, but husband, you know.
Those husbands.
Yes, he runs kind of the show with the food. So I don't want to cook twice. So we've adapted a little bit. So what you're gonna do is I just put a little bit of salt. Now, do you hear it?
Is that about a half a teaspoon?
You know, everybody has a different salt preference level.
Okay.
I minimally salt my food because the folks at my house don't like salt, but my kids like salt. So if it's for my kids, I probably would have added another one of these. It's like 1/4 of a teaspoon. I probably would have added a little bit more. And the key when cooking, if you're adding salt or any ingredient, it's kind of to taste, right? You taste it before, even with limes or lemons or salt, that's something that you want to taste before you start dumping quite a bit of salt. So we can start with a little bit right now just to kind of get it going and see at the end. Unfortunately, you won't be able to taste this. That's the sad part.
I know.
Okay, you can describe
This
it.
is
You can
kind of a
describe
tease. Alicia, this is a tease really for them.
I
So-
know.
But this is an incentive for us to do it at home.
But you buy it ready-made. You can buy it ready-made, but I like to make my own. So, and I just use a little bit of garlic granulated to give it a little bit of flavor. And I'm kind of sorry, Alicia, I'm an eyeballer.
I
So
know. I was just about to say. I can see
I'm
that.
an eyeballer. And so I eyeball things. So I'm kind of looking at it, and I just sprinkled a little bit over the top. And we only use 1 avocado. So obviously we're not going to use the bulk of ingredients that we would, even if I gave you measurements, it's not really 1 avocado to a 4th tablespoon or teaspoon or salt.
Right.
It's kind of a lot to taste preference.
Right.
Some people might like a little bit more garlic. Some might like a little bit more salt. With these kind of things, you want to sort of taste them to find your taste buds and just keep adding and adjusting a little bit. Now,
So that looked like about 1/2 of a teaspoon to me.
no, it was probably 1/8 if I had to
Okay,
measure by eye.
See how I'm forcing her how to figure out how much it is for us?
Yeah, it's about 1/8, but I usually taste it, and I'm usually adding a bit more garlic because I like the garlic flavor.
Okay, great.
And so now I just cut my lime in half. And then I'm just going to take my squeezer, if you all have one. These are really handy because limes are sometimes really tough to get the juice out, or lemons. And this just makes it really easy and less time consuming. So if we want to look really quick on our clock for the Instant Pot has started. So within 15 minutes, it will be done. Okay. And then we're just going to squeeze. And again, this is for preference, right? So I'm going to tease you all and get a chip and do a taste test.
That's my weakness, the chip and the avocado,
Right?
guacamole. Oh,
Right? So that to me is my ultimate weakness. And so what you just mix it up, and then let's get our chips. We're going to taste. Today we're not counting points, right, Alicia? So we're gonna taste it. We're gonna
No
see.
points.
Use a little garlic and a little bit more lime. You want the lime flavor to come through, and you want a hint of the garlic because you don't want it to be too bitter if you put too much lime. Then the lime overpowers the avocados, and then you're getting mostly the lime. You just want a hint of lime, and you want to taste the avocado. But we want to dress it up, right? We want to make it pretty, right?
Absolutely.
And so that its flavor bursts through. And each lime will measure different. Some are really tiny, some are a little bit bigger. Some are not ripe yet, so you don't get as much juice out of them. So you might want to start with just a little bit and then kind of move and taste as you go. And trust me, they will tell me if I added too much lime.
Don't they always?
I have the pickiest eaters at home, and the pickiest kids. So we're gonna taste this. I can taste the lime, a hint of lime, a hint of garlic, and the salt is right where it should be. I wish I could share it, but guess what? I get to eat all of this today. We're gonna set this aside because we're gonna come back to this and we might wanna use it on our chicken. Normally when you make a taco, if you're making a chicken taco or you're making a beef taco, at least at my home, they like the Taco Bell sauce that they put over. But I think this already has the flavor of the salsa, so you might just want to add a dollop of guacamole. But I'm going to show you a trick today. One of our ingredients, one of our condiments actually that we're going to use is sour cream, right? So how many of us like our sour cream perfect on our chicken without having to spread it? And we don't really have a dispenser to kind of make a line, right? So I'm going to teach you a little trick that you all may already know, but I'm going to show it to you.
I know I don't because I don't eat sour cream, but I might after this. Let's see.
So just take a Ziploc baggie here, and we're going to cut a little hole at the end, not too big. And we're just going to line this cup here like we do for frosting. We're going to take our sour cream and we're going to put it in the bag.
Liz, this is fantastic. Liz, this is fantastic. Thank you.
So this is kind of teaching you little tips and tricks. And then we're just gonna find the hole. And then now we can squeeze our sour cream instead of having it go everywhere. And we're just gonna hold it like we do when we're gonna frost cupcakes.
Very good. Very good. There's nothing like eating food that's put together nice and neatly. So thank you for that.
Yeah, so that's a trick that you can now show off at home and just say, okay, we're gonna get some professional sour cream looking on our tacos when we're making them for our little parties and we're kind of having a little station. So now we're gonna talk a little bit about our toppings. So here I've just cut up some romaine lettuce. I like romaine. You can also use iceberg, but iceberg, you know, if you're gonna buy it at the store, you have to wash it and cut it. But the store does sell shredded, already iceberg lettuce. You can find it in the produce section, already shredded, and you can put it out on your table, not have to worry. We're gonna use some tomatoes. I chopped up some tomatoes. And what's a taco without some cheese, right? So we need some cheese here. So we have, I just bought, you can do one of two things. You can buy the cheddar cheese and shred it yourself, or you can just buy it pre-made. One of the things that I've learned is that the cheese, it holds up because it has wood chips in it. So
Wood chips.
yes. So you might want, so I buy the bag sometimes. I'm like, what's a little fiber? But you can do your own. So I'll give you a little tip that I do. Sometimes if I'm in a hurry and I just don't have time, I will buy the pre-made one, but you can shred it yourself. You just get a little handy tool I'll show it to you. You can get one of these and you can shred your cheese. You can either make it fine or you can make it a little bit coarse. And then what I've done is I've put it in a Ziploc freezer bag in the freezer, and it will hold its shape. And you can just pull a little bit of cheese prior to what you need. Like I need, like this was frozen. I always put my cheese in the freezer because my husband doesn't eat cheese. Nikki doesn't eat cheese. I like cheese, but I'm not going to eat a whole bag before it goes bad. So I just freeze it. And then
Now, yes, that is a great tip because I didn't know you could freeze cheese.
yes. So I freeze it.
So after you shred it, you said it will still hold its shape in the freezer.
It holds it. So you can buy two things. You can either buy the store-bought one that holds its shape in the freezer, or you can shred it yourself and it will still hold its shape. And you can put it just in a freezer Ziploc bag, a Ziploc freezer bag. I use the quart size and I just shred the cheese. And I know that Parmesan will hold its shape in the freezer. If you buy fresh Parmesan and you grate it, it'll hold its shape. I know that cheddar cheese, because I've done cheddar cheese, I haven't tried mozzarella. So I do know the two cheeses, Parmesan and I'm sure Colby Jack or all those cheeses that you want to buy at the deli counter can be shredded and put in the freezer. And that way you have things already prepared in the freezer. Say if you want to do these chicken salsa, you don't need a whole bag, and then what are you going to do with it, right?
Right.
Just pop it in the freezer.
So Liz, this is a great dish. You just set it and forget it. You just prep a little bit and
we haven't touched it. We haven't, all we did, and it was 2 ingredients, chicken salsa and my favorite,
right.
or you can do chipotle or Southwestern seasoning. You can do a chili lime seasoning. You can do there's a chili lime from Trader Joe's. You can just dump that in there. Just any seasoning to kind of give the chicken some flavor. So it's not just the flavor of the salsa alone.
Okay. So Liz, we have a minute where we can take a couple of questions if someone has a question right now. If anybody has a question, unmute yourself and please ask away. Let me tell you, she's full of information, and Liz, you're doing a fantastic job. Thank you so much.
This is Gulhan Bourget. I would like to ask a question.
Hi, Gulhan.
Hi, how are you, Elise?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm not fan of salsa. Instead of salsa, can I just chop tomato and onion and make the base?
So absolutely. So you can use fresh, you can make your own salsa and you can add it in there. So you know the recipe for that.
But she says she's not a fan of salsa.
But she can chop up tomatoes, like it's a salsa. So it would be, you can chop tomatoes and onions and a little jalapeno and give it a little spice that you like, and it will be the same. The concept is that it's a tomato based with some onions, garlic, a little bit of cilantro and spices. So you can substitute if you're not a fan of salsa with tomatoes and onions, but make sure that there's enough juice so that it's.
You said it has to cover the chicken.
Well, if you're using if you're using an Instant Pot, it's a minimum of half a cup. if you're going to use another method, you want to make sure that it's covered, but it's not swimming, if you will. So it's not supposed to be swimming in it. It's enough to flavor it and enough to cook. So that's an excellent question, Bourget. Thank you for that.
Yes, thank you for that.
Because actually the original recipe from this is you make your own salsa, which you're not asking about salsa, I understand, but tomatoes being chopped up with onions and garlic and cilantro.
Very good. Thank you. Do we have any other questions?
Oh, but I have a tip.
You have a tip?
You
Please.
do? I'd love to hear a tip.
You used one of those squeezers for juice in the lemon. I have one too, and they're wonderful. But here's a tip. Put the lime or the lemon in the microwave for about 10 seconds before you squeeze it.
Okay.
It'll be easier to squeeze, and you just adjust the time when you cut it by the amount of thickness of the rind. But if you just do it for 10 seconds, which is approximately the time, you'll find that the thing is squeezable, more squeezable, and gives you more juice for the squeeze, per squeeze.
Thank you.
Wow.
Right? Marvin? I can't see. Marvin.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's an amazing
I don't
tip.
know if it's a usually known thing, but since I saw you not doing it, I read.
Yes, thank you. We'll have to
No,
add that now to my
We
daily.
love that. Thank you. I will try that. That's similar to when you're going to use garlic. Rather than smashing the garlic when it's cold, you can zap that in the microwave for a little bit and then smash it, and then the peeling comes right off. So
Thank you.
great tip. Great tip. All right. Any other questions? Please feel free to jump in. You have about what, 2 more minutes left on there, Liz?
I do, but actually, I already made it earlier so that we could see the finished product in case we ran out of time.
All right.
So here is the finished product. When it's done, we're just going to cut it up, or you can shred it. Obviously, when it's hot, it's easier to shred, right? I let it cool so you could see what it looked like when it came out. So I'm just going to shred it. I'm just going to cut it up on the cutting board, on my plate here. And this will stay for like two or 3 days in the refrigerator. And you don't necessarily have to eat it in a tortilla. You can add this to a salad. You can add it to lettuce wraps if you want a lettuce instead of tortilla. So it has many versatile ways you can eat this. So we're just going to cut it up.
So Liz, what side dishes do you use with that? Did you just put a vegetable with it or a small salad?
Well, sometimes it's funny you ask that. Maybe that could be for the next segment. I make like a cowboy salad.
Oh.
Add,
or a cowgirl salad?
well, they call it a cowboy salad, caviar, cowboy caviar, I think they call it. And then it's just black beans, red onions, tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, corn, and it's a little bit of lime and I put a little bit of olive oil. And then you let that sit, and that can be your little side. And another 0-pointer, you add a little bit of avocado chunks to it. So just to give it a, so now we're done, and we're gonna release the steamer. Just to give you an idea what that, and that should just take a minute or so.
So that's like that's similar to like a pressure cooker, release the steam. Okay.
And then once the steam releases,
Yes, you couldn't have timed this right. We have like 4 minutes left. Perfect timing. Perfect.
so now the steam has released. It's done. The little red thing went down, so that tells me. Okay, and so I'm just going to get another plate so we can see the finished product. Obviously, I showed it to you, but it was cold. And here you go. And I want to grab the pot because I want to show you how much liquid was in there. So can you all see how much liquid was left?
Yes.
We only put just, you know, enough that it wasn't swimming. It was enough to cover just lightly so that the chicken can steam. And so here is our finished product. And then you can build your taco with your chicken. You've got your sour cream, layer your chicken, and then whatever condiment. And either you can use the chips and eat your guacamole, or you can add that as a topping for your recipe, for your taco.
It looks delicious, Liz. Now, I am not a big guacamole fan, but I'm from New Orleans and we love our rice dishes. So that little gravy, that little juice you had in there, we might put that over a little white rice and go to town. So
there is a recipe actually at Wahoo's Fish Tacos, and they actually put the pico de gallo on their rice, and it's absolutely delicious. So you're right. But I'm not a rice fan. I love rice, but all the calories, but you can do that. So maybe one segment we might do a rice, cauliflower rice. So.
Oh, yes. So Liz mentioned a couple of times our WW group, our Weight Watchers group, and we talk about a lot of things on WW. So we always want to plug our WW members, and anybody who wants to join. There are 0 point foods, and that's what she was talking about. You can have chicken, 0 points. You can have eggs, 0 points. There are many vegetables. There's like over 200 foods that are 0 points. And at like 80% of what you eat, you can lose weight. So if you're not real big on the exercise, or you can't exercise, you can eat right. And that's what we're attempting to do here today, is to show you different quick and healthy meals that you can do at home. Change it up a little bit. Even if it's very similar to something you have, you might add one of her ingredients that maybe you didn't have in yours and taste a little different. So Liz, you are the first and the best. Thank you, Liz,
Thank you so much for having me. Enjoy the rest of your day and bon appetit.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and thank you for the tips. Please join us again. We have 4 more weeks next Wednesday at noon, same place, same time. Have a great day. Thank you guys for joining us.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.